So in part one, we learned the basics of how to add materials and render up our building and scene. But now we want to look at how to add a bit of environment and atmosphere to our render. So now that we've got our building materials kind of all sorted out, another thing we wanted to model in was this embankment up to the train line, which is covered in grass, plants, and trees. And now modeling everything in along this long strip of land would take a while. So a tool that D5 has is this thing called Scatter. Um, and what we can do is go into Assets, Scatter, and there's all these combinations of, I guess, preset land that you can add into your project to just fill areas quicker than clicking it in yourself. So we have this one that we've downloaded already, and what it lets you do is simply just select a material or area that you've already modeled in. You click it on and hit create, and it's going to automatically generate that kind of landscape for you quickly. So there we go. Just like that, we have all of this land covered in plants just how we would like. Another thing we can do if we want to add in trees on top of this, for instance, is we can draw a custom path that these trees will be drawn over. So let's click Path for Nature. And what it's going to let us do is just click our way through. Just like that. So let's hit done on the path, and where it says content, we can add in our assets from the asset library. So let's just search up a specific type of tree. So there's all these options. Let's find one that we've already got. That'll add to the content. Let's add a second one. So now we can see that it's automatically generating in a random assortment of trees from the ones that we've added in. So there we go. We have a pretty reasonable environment now for our render. So another cool thing that D5 has is this thing called emissive material, which essentially just lets you add light to anything you've modeled rather than having to model in specific asset lights from D5. So what I've gone and done is, in my Rhino model, I've just drawn in these boxes here, and I've set them to a layer on their own called emissive. So what we'll do is what we did before, and we'll give them their own new custom material. So then when we go back into D5, if we select this emissive material and we select our boxes, they will begin to light up the space. So the final thing, I guess, to complete your render in D5 is to set up the environment. So there's three different ways you can change the sky, the sunlight, all that stuff. The first being geosky, which essentially just lets you change the direction of where the sun is coming from based on time, and you can change the offset, that kind of thing, to wherever you want the shadows and light to hit. The second one is custom, which pretty much gives you full control over the intensity, altitude, not as accurate to the actual sun path, but it lets you set it up however you want. Same with all the weather here. The third option is HDRI, which is essentially you can make your own, or it comes with a bunch of presets for sky settings and weather that you can apply to your view. So let's say I want to stick with this one, but maybe I want it to be rainy because we're in Melbourne, it rains. We can just scroll down, add precipitation, make it stronger rain, lighter rain. You can make it puddle more on the ground, all that kind of stuff, to essentially create a bit more of an atmosphere about your render.